In this video, we're going to take a look at a demonstration of all of the techniques we've learned thus far. We're going to build a little house using only the things that we went over in the previous videos. We're going to go over the extrusions, the bevels, the movement, and the primitive creation. So I think it would make the best sense if we just sort of start out here. I'm going to press Shift A from the keyboard to pop up the add menu. And I'm going to create a plane. So I've created this plane just so I can kind of model out my ground floor for the house that we're going to be building. And as you can see, it's centered in world space. That's because we used this menu and not drawing it from here, from this pop-up. Now, I'm going to go from object mode into edit mode, and I'm going to start to shape this up. So we want our house to be a bit longer. I'm going to select these two vertices and I'm going to press the move button. I'm going to make this plane like a bit longer here. Maybe push these out a bit as well. Push these out, kind of like that. And what I would like to have right here is to have a bit of a junction right over here. I'm going to do that by using the loop cut. I'm going to position it where I want the junction to be, somewhere like over here, perhaps. Yeah, over here is good. And then I'm going to go to edge mode over here. I'm going to click, just for a second, I'm going to need to drop the loop cut tool. I'm going to use the select box to drop it. Yeah. I'm going to select this edge right here. I want to have an extrusion of this juncture right over here across the x-axis. And I'm going to use the extrude region. So if I press over here, you can see that I'm doing an extrusion simply forward like this, which is exactly what I want. So I want to have this be like maybe this long. I'm going to go back into vertices, and I'm going to select this bunch over here, and I'm going to move them a bit further because I want the house to be a bit wider. Okay. So now that we have kind of like this thing going, I want to make an opening for a fireplace on the house, and I want the fireplace to be, say for example, over here. So I'm going to use again the loop cut. I'm going to position it where I want it to be, like say over here. And I'm going to drop the loop cut by selecting this, and I'm going to go to edge. And I want to bevel this edge so that I can create more geometry, so I can fit in the actual fireplace. So I'm going to use bevel. I will space these out as much as I want the fireplace to be wide, and I'm going to scroll with the middle mouse button to add more geometry, more edges on the bevel. Another way to do this is from the pop-up over here in the bottom left, adding more segments. 3, 4, 2, 1. So basically, even if I had beveled it like this, I could always add more from here. 3 is enough, I think. And what I'm going to do, because I want it to pop out from the silhouette of the house, really like to sort of pop off, I'm going to select these 3 edges, and I'm going to use extrude region, and I'm going to restrict it across the x-axis by pressing X on the keyboard. And I want something maybe like this. We're going to have a chimney pop out of here eventually, so let's kind of work around with this. I'm going to go to the vertex level, and I'm going to select the utmost left and utmost right vertices. And I'm going to use the move tool, trying to give it that sort of silhouette that we would want to have for a fireplace. Shape it a bit. And now what we have here is basically the floor plan for the house. What I want to do now is actually extrude it in terms of height. So I'm going to go to face. I'm going to select all of the faces by going to select all, or simply pressing A from the keyboard. Once I've done this, I can now do extrude region, and I can extrude the height of the house to basically as much as I want to. I'm going to freeball it. I'm not going to use any actual numbers here. But I'm going to eyeball it into something that I basically feel like is proportional to a house. And you can see right here that we have this thing going. We basically now have the height volume of the house. And it's a nice cube. Not a cube, but a boxy thing. So what we'd want to do now is create some windows and some doors. But initially, what I really want to have going on here right now is kind of like not have this mess. So I'm going to show you how we can actually delete edges that we don't need. So I'm going to go to the edge level, and I'm going to select these basically 1, 2, 3, 4 edges. I'm going to select the edges underneath, these 1, 2, 3, 4 edges, and the ones on top, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go over here to dissolve edges, and I'm going to click that. So now we've removed them. I've removed them because I'm going to have windows situated over here, and I want to have an easier time modeling them. So let's start off popping out some windows and some doors. For that purpose, I'm going to use the loop cut tool, and I'm going to mark the top of our windows and of our door, which is somewhere over here. And then from there, I'm going to pop off the bottom for the windows. The bottom from the door is obviously going to be the ground plane, because, yeah, the door opens from the very bottom. And we want this for our windows. That kind of height, I think, is what's really going to get us going. What I really want to do is have a window. Like, I'm going to go to face just so I can show you. I want to have a window here, a bunch of windows here, a window here, and a door over here, maybe a window over here, and we'll see if we want one over here or not. So right now, I'm going to make the incisions for the door, and I'm going to do that by doing the loop cut. And I'm going to scroll with the mouse wheel while doing this. I'm going to do, just give me a second, I thought of a better way. I'm going to put one edge loop that's centered here, just by clicking. And I'm going to increase the number of the cuts to 2. And then using the scale tool, I'm going to space out the width of the door. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, that should be enough. Right now I'm going to do something similar, but for the sort of width for the windows. I'm going to come here with the loop cut tool, and I'm going to do a couple of cuts. Let's say we want to have 2 windows over here. So I'm going to do 4 cuts. I'm going to use these as the actual windows. One thing you can notice over here, and this is something that I was hoping would pop off, is that we do not have incisions across here. That's because like edges going through the top of the this face right here. That's because previously, I'm going to undo a bunch, I deleted these edges and we no longer have an edge loop going across here. So basically when we cut, it creates just one sort of geometry piece over here. If we want to have a mirrored window from right here, we're going to need to fix this and create an edge loop across this this plane. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to vertex level. We are going to use the knife tool and we're going to start cutting. The first cut is going to be from this vertex across here, and then across here. And then I'm going to press enter. So what you're going to notice right away is that when I use the loop cut, it goes right across these. One thing that I want to make sure is that when I go to edges, I want to make sure that this is perfectly flat. So just to show you what I mean, I'm going to move this a bit, like make it a bit janky. So now it's crooked, and you can see that if I do the loop cut by doing by pressing Control and R, this is going to be crooked as well. I don't want this to be crooked. So in order for me to straighten this out, I'm going to select these edges, and I'm going to go to vertex, and I'm going to go to scale, and I'm going to push this in. I'm going to push it on the y-axis because that's the axis I want it to be flat on. And while pushing this, I'm going to press 0 from the keyboard. That basically flattens the entire edge. I can do this for the top and bottom as well. I don't feel like it's completely necessary, but so yeah, let's forget about it. And let's create the windows that we initially wanted. So I'm going to go to edges. I'm going to press Control and R or select it from here to use the loop cut. And I'm going to create a bunch of these windows. Like I'm going to do 2 here so we can have the window. And I'm going to do 1 here. Again, space these out with the, I'm going to press X so I can flatten the view here and eyeball the width of the window. Now I'm actually not going to be doing the loop cut thing that we did here because here we have the fireplace and it's okay not to have another window at the back. So the last window that we want to create is the one over here. Control R, boom, 2, space these out as much as we want to. I'm going to eyeball it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create the actual window frames. So I'm going to go to my selection tool so I don't mess something up accidentally. And I'm going to select my I'm going to go to faces. And I'm going to select my 1, 2, 3, 4 windows over here that we're going to have. Do we want a fifth one that's right across the door? I don't think we really do, no. So, after I selected all of these, I'm going to inset them. I'm going to press the inset button over here. And we're basically going to push this in until we're satisfied with the window frame that we're going to get from this. I think something like this is pretty nice. Maybe make it a bit thicker, more stylized. Yeah, something like this, so we can see it from afar. And what you can see is Inset basically goes across these individual faces and it insets them proportionately. Now we're going to do the same thing for the door. So I'm going to basically select this and this. I'm going to inset it. So here we have the door frame, something like this maybe. Yeah, this should do. And now what we want to have happen here is to sort of create the actual popping up of the windows, like the actual window pop-up, the actual window frame. And we're going to do that by going over here to our selection, select the window frame by double-clicking this, the middle edge, doing it here as well. And what we're going to do, let's try using the extrude. You can see that it's going all over the place, like not doing what we want. So as in the previous lecture, we're going to use extrude along normals. We're going to click the offset even tick box over here that we had in the previous lectures. And now we get these like nice looking window frames, which are proportionate all across house. Cool. And now we're going to use something pretty similar for the door. But one thing you can notice over here is that if we do that for the door, we're going to have this thing right here, which we really don't want to have. So I'm going to use the cut tool, the knife tool, pardon. I'm going to go to vertex mode so I can see better what's going on. And I'm going to make a cut here, down to here, enter. And then another cut from here, down to here. So what I basically did was create kind of like the one wall of the door. What I really want to do now is sort of like push this a bit further because I don't want to have any strange results coming in. Boom. I'm going to do the exact same thing here. Let me just sort of focus in on it. Yeah. Boom. Enter to confirm. And now we can go to our selection, faces. We're going to select this, 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 and we're going to extrude it. Here we go. So we have the door frame right now, and it's ready and done. So now let's go on and create what we're going to create. We're going to create the the roof of this thing. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to go into object mode, and we're going to press Shift A and add another plane, which we can see over here. I'm going to press the Z to go to the top position. I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to press Alt Z so that I can make the house transparent and see what's going on there. You remember this from our selection tutorial. And I'm going to go to Vertex, and I'm going to use the Move tool to space these out as if they were our roof. Let me space it out accordingly. Here. Go right about here. And with this, we're gonna go right about here. Maybe here. Yeah. And now we're going to go back to object mode, and we're going to use the Move tool. Alt Z to remove the transparency, and we're going to push this out to the level of the actual roof. We might want to go into edit mode and select this edge and push it out a bit more. This one too. And what we're going to do right now is go to face, select the plane, and we're going to go to extrude region and extrude it to about as much as we want the roof to be in terms of height. And what we're gonna do here as well is we're going to go to the scale tool. We're going to push this sort of in, like right here. We might want to make things a bit more interesting. Let's see what we can do over here. I'm basically just sort of freestyling something. Yeah, so I'm going to press and do a bunch of times. And I'm going to go to the edges, and I'm going to try to give this a nice, sort of like a nice taper over here. I'm going to use Bevel on these to create the taper. Yeah. We're going to add a whole bunch of segments, like maybe 14. And we're going to reverse the profile to make it something like this. So basically right now, if an architect could see what I was doing, they'd probably tell me that I'm a monstrosity or something like that, because this isn't how a house is normally supposed to look like, but I just want to sort of show you the possibilities that we can have here. And I want to have this face over here go across. So I want to make this like really big thing. Yeah, we're gonna do it like that. Push this out as well. Push this even a bit further. And what we want to have here is also have a slant across all of these. So I'm going to go to edges again. I'm going to remove the bottom one and these ones here from the side from the selection. And while holding Shift, I'm going to select these and again remove these from selection. And I'm going to use Bevel again. This time we're going to let's see how we want to proceed with this. Now, you know what? On second thought, I don't want to bevel. I want to maybe Let's see. I want to maybe just sort of scale this thing in. Let's see how this is going to look. Freestyling everything again. Yeah. We're gonna leave it at that for now because I sort of want to go over duplicating and other things, but we're going to return to it once we're done with the other stuff that I want to show you. So I'm going to go to object node, and this is going to end part 1 of this demonstration. See you back at part 2.